Hello friends, welcome back. Now as in the previous videos we have already discussed two types of questions in visual reasoning. One is a series completion, the second is the odd man out. Now in this CET workshop visual reasoning 4 we will discuss again odd man out because we have discussed only 10 such questions, right? And we would be discussing 10 more questions. So directions for these 10 questions for visual reasoning workshop 4 would be exactly similar to the previous workshop, which was workshop 3. So here also we need to find out odd man out. It means again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 figures would be given to us, out of which 4 would be exactly identical in some manner, and the fifth one, which is the odd man out or is different from those 4, has to be my correct answer. Now moving on to the first question quickly, because we've already discussed them in the previous handout. Now arrow, a pin and a cross. Arrow, pin and a cross. Now that small dot also has some role to the play, right? So first trying to find out that is there any logic between the angle, yes. The same angle 90 degree, so 90 degree, so 90 degree, so 90 degree. So angle is not playing a critical role, right? It means they can be rotated. It means if they can be rotated outer figure, this small dot has to play an important role. So this small dot in the first figure is there between the angle of arrow and pin. Again this dot is between pin and arrow. Again this dot, no, this dot third figure is not between pin and arrow. It is between arrow and cross. This is between arrow and pin. This is between arrow and pin. So only third figure, the dot which is used is not there between arrow and pin. Rest all the figures, it is between arrow and pin, arrow and pin. This is between arrow and the cross or that plus sign. So obviously this third is going to be my correct answer. Moving on to the next figure, right, or next question. Here again looks like a tricky problem, right? So when I talked about first frame, I somehow tried to rotate it and try to make the second frame, right? But when I rotated the first frame, right, by 45 degree in clockwise direction, obviously this part should have been opened from there, right? This line should have been here, right? So it should have been closed from here and open from here. So obviously 1 cannot be rotated to make 2. So can 1 be rotated to make 3? Again the answer would be no. So can 2 be rotated to make 3? If you rotate 2 by definitely 45 degree first and then 90 degree, definitely you will get the same orientation of the inner two buckets also, right? So definitely 2 can be rotated to make 3, 2 can be rotated to make 4, or 3 can also be rotated to make 4. It means 2, 3, 4 and 5. They all can be found by rotating each other, right? It means the odd man out is going to be nothing but figure number 1. So this is something that we need to look at, right? More or less orientation is also important. Now moving on to the third figure. Now this third question talks about again a figure which consists of some middle figure and the 4 outer figures, and out of the 4 outer figures half part is shaded, half is not shaded out of the 4 outer figures, right? Everywhere there is the same logic, right? But then I looked at the opposite ones, right? Here if the right part is shaded, the bottom left part is shaded. If in the left part bottom part is shaded, then in the right part the top part is shaded, which is there in first figure also, which is there in the second figure also, but it is not there in the third figure because the opposite ones, top and bottom, both of them right part is shaded, which cannot be the logic which is there in the other ones. Or in simple words you can say that these shaded parts is making a L here, shaded part is making a L here, right? Shaded part is making a L here, shaded part is making a L here. But here this L is being made, but this L is not being made, right? Because this part is unshaded and this part is shaded. It should have been the other way around to make the series, right? Here this is the odd man out in the series. Rest here also L part, L part, L part, L part. So my correct answer definitely comes out to be figure number 3. Now moving on to the next question. Now fourth one, again we talk about a square and we have 2 lines inside and 1 line outside. Again a square, 2 lines inside, 1 line outside. So first the basic criteria has to be satisfied, then we will talk about the orientation of lines. Again a square, 1 line inside, 2 outside. 2 inside, 1 outside, 2 inside, 1 outside. It means this again third figure is the odd man out, because here there are 2 lines outside and 1 inside. In rest all the other figures there are 2 lines inside and 1 line outside. So before getting into orientation, first talk about lines inside outside. Like in the previous video we have talked about arrows pointing left and right, 2 left 1 right or 2 right 1 left, right? So first look at the directions and then talk about their orientations. Now moving on to the 5th problem, when we talk about choose the figure which is different from the remaining one, right? Initially they are all alphabets, so I need to get some relation between them and find out the odd. Out of these 5 alphabets, 4 of them should be somewhat similar, right? So when I say A, it is made using 3 lines, F is made using 1, 2 and 3 lines, Z can be made using 1, 2 and 3 lines, N can be made using 1, 2 and 3 lines, but E I would be requiring 4 lines, right? So among E and F, I knew that the same number of lines will not be able to make E and F, right? So E is the odd man out because I will require 4 lines to make E, rest all alphabets can be made using 3 lines. So somewhere these kind of logics also are going to be very, very critical and important for you, right? Now moving on to the next question, which is the 6th problem. Right, in the 6th problem again choose the figure which is different from the remaining one. So when we talk about P, E, I, O, U, now here they are also alphabets, but here my previous logic will not work. Looking at them, they are not only made by lines, some of them is made by a semicircle, one complete circle, right? So some other logic has to be found out. Then when I realize it out that P, E, I, O, U, A, E, I, O, U. So E, I, O, U are vowels and P is the lone consonant here, right? So the only logic which I was able to decode is that P is the odd man out because it is the consonant and rest 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 are vowels. So these kind of logics have to be also taken into account. Again semicircles, right, or arcs being used and these lines, right? So first thing I told you out the rule, right? Just before 2 questions we talked about that the orientation has to be important. Before the orientation we'll first talk about the direction. So how many directions? 1, 2, 2 in one direction, these 2 in the other direction, 1 and 2, 2 and 2. So it means 4 of them are pointing towards left, 4 of them are pointing towards right. This is true for the second figure also. Again 1, 2, 2 in same direction, 2 in other direction, 2, 2. So 4, 4 total, 2, 2, 2, 2. Here it is 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1. But 1, 2, 3 has only 1 on the same side. So 4 and 4. So again 4 and 4 logic is being maintained. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 and 4 anyways logic is maintained. It means this should be the odd man out, right? Let's try to check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 and we have only 1, 2 and 3. 5 and 3, but it should have been 4, 4, right? In all the other frames we have already seen, or figures we have already seen that 4 of them are facing left, 4 of them are facing right. So this is the odd man out. Moving on to the 8th problem. Now moving on to the 8th problem, clearly the odd man out, sometimes I said looking at the figure rather than going into nitty-gritties points me or tells me out that this is the odd man out because here the dot is not inside, right? Here it is the on the opposite one which is outside. The 3 dots are outside and 2 dots are towards the closed type, right? So here 2 dots are towards the open side of this box and 3 on the closed side. 3 on the closed side, 2 on the open side. So 3 on the closed side, 2 on the open side, 3 on the closed side, 2 on the open side, but this is the only odd man out because here this dot was missing, so this dot should have been here. It means the orientation of the original figure doesn't play an important role. First the dots and where the dots are located has definitely clearly pointed out that this third is the odd man out. Now moving on to the 9th one, right? So moving on to the 9th one, when we talk about this figure, again we don't need to even put a lot of introspection into this question because the first figure and the 5th figure exactly identical, right? Exactly identical. So first and 5th are exactly identical, second and 4th are exactly identical. So it means the odd man out has to be again the third figure, right? So sometimes these we try to talk about complicated ones, but sometimes the figures talks about very similar things. These two are identical, these two are identical, so this is the odd man out. Now again, choosing the figure which is different. Last question, 10th question. So we have done enough practice now, which gives us a clue to solve this question in lesser time. I know that again there are certain figures which are having different number of sides, but the orientation is that 2 dots here, 3 dots outside, 2 dots here, 3 dots outside, 1 to 3 dots here, 4 dots outside, 2 dots here, 4 dots outside, 1 dot here, 2 dot outside. It means the number of dots outside is 1 more than the number of dots inside, which is not following only in 4th figure, because in the 4th figure 2 inside, either there should be 3 outside, or if 4 outside there should be 3 inside, right? So the odd man out is going to be nothing but 4th figure. Rest all figures have 1 dot more outside than inside. So this is what we need to understand. The more we try to solve, or the more we practice, the better we are going to be at it, because we would have definitely seen some of the other logic which is going to help in some other question also, right? So keep on watching these videos, because the next video I am going to change the topic and we are going to talk about some other type of questions of visual reasoning. Thank you very much for watching this video.